Good day, Gerrit Harting from Good to Great People. I trust everybody at Brights are well today. I'm going to give you an overview, an explanation of how the leadership routines chart works. So everybody should have a professional leadership routines chart in front of them when you start the month. And you'll see firstly at the top, I just deleted some of the columns because I couldn't fit it into the page, because I want to explain how you must work the sheet. So firstly, you'll see the definitions at the top is the values. Those are the Bright's values. Then you've got objectives, what you want to achieve. Then the standard. For every objective, you've got a standard. Frequency is how often. Is it daily, monthly, weekly? The measurement, what measurement are you going to use to evaluate it? And there you'll see, you'll notice I've cut out a couple of days there because I want to explain the form to you. Then you've got a total, a monthly target, and a percentage to target. I'm going to explain to you step by step how to complete your daily chart. So under the value of positivity, there's a 5-minute daily huddle. That's what you must do as a retail supervisor. So the standard is that you check attendance, the uniform standard, you do acknowledgements like birthdays, new births, etc., recognition, medals. You receive feedback from them, you delegate tasks, and you talk about the coronavirus precautions. That's a daily 5-minute huddle. So what you're going to do is on your scorecard, you're simply going to put in, if you've done it, a 1. If you have not done it, a 0. So here, just done an explanation here. So if you add it together, that's 7. And the total days that you've worked in a month is 10. Now, most of you will work 21 days. I've just used an example because, as you know, I'm constrained with space here. So I've added it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of the total days of work is 10, so I've got 70%. But don't bother to write in a percentage, just put in 70. Right. Then the next point here is a respect and trust. Now, respect and trust, so displayed emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is defined as a very important role. Skill for a leader to have is that you must be able to maintain your composure and basically stay calm under pressure. That's the essence, and the ability to respond appropriately, to not lose your temper, not to panic, but really to stay calm under all circumstances. In other words, not to allow your emotions to take over. Moments your emotions take over your conversations, then you are not using your intelligent brain. You're using your primitive brain, which is either fight or flight, and we don't want that. That's not good for business. That's not good for people, especially if you want to develop good relationships with people. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a self-assessment. How was your day? And you can take it further. You can take it to your home environment, to traffic, whether you will be able to manage your road rage, all of that. So you're going to give yourself a rating every day. And you know what? If you wanna cheat, it's okay. You have to live with yourself. It's about you. It's not about trying to catch you out. It is about integrity, and it will be a good way to monitor your own performance. Anyway, so here you assess yourself every day where you have worked. You gave yourself a 1. You gave yourself a 1 when you've displayed emotional intelligence, and a 0. In other words, on the 9th, this person did assessment said, well, I was not emotionally intelligent for the day. I could have done better. So you've worked 10 days, and 9 days you were emotional intelligent, so your score is 90%. Right. Stock report, so you want to have a daily stock report. So what you must do is check and variances, defaults, action, report it on your stock reports. It must be done daily. So all you're going to say is, have you done it, yes or no? 1, yes. So I've given an example again on each of the calendar days. Let's say you've done it 5 out of the 10 days. So then that should be 50%. 50%. Responsibility. Now this is an important one for floor walks. This is the internal floor walk that you do in-house. It's not the one that Aiden does. So this is checked, stock items correctly labeled, stock items well organized. This is the standard, eh? You must do it weekly. Now, what the important thing is, the target is the number of audits above 80%. Okay, so I've given an example here. So you've done 1 week, your audit was 89, then 76, 85, 65. In other words, on 2 occasions that you achieve your a target of 80% and more. So in other words, your target is 4, 2 out of 4 is 50. Right, that's a bit of a tough one, but you know, it's rather to have something like that built in for the internal audit. Right, the external audit works very similar, but that's the one that Aiden will do. The only difference here is, if your score is below 65%, you must give yourself a note. Okay, then you don't get any points, because the standard is if it's below 65%, you get naught. So now I can do an example here. So let's say you score 73, then it's still fine. Then you put in there 73. Okay. However, even 65 is okay. If you put in 65, you can still put in 65. However, if you put in 64, if you're below 65, you must put in naught. Okay, it says there, when an audit is below 65, your percentage score to target is naught. Okay, I'm going to just put it back to what it was. Then flexibility. This is an important one. This is your under the core value of flexibility is absenteeism recorded. So all you need to do is you record the number of people who absent AWOL the day. So not, and there that on that day you had 2, and then there you had 1. So in total you had 3. Now what is important here? You're not being measured on AWOL. You're not really responsible for that. Of course, it is a function of your leadership. If you create a warm and nurturing environment and people enjoy working, you'll find that they will less likely take AWOL. Okay, so how does the measurement work? So when the person is important here, meeting with the employee on first day return to work, back to work, or actions taken if required. So we want to know that you actually had a follow-up discussion with that person when they return back work. And secondly, or did you take an action? So I'll give an example. So you had 3 incidences or 3 people, but you only followed up with 1 person, with 1 incident. So in other words, 1 out of 3 is 33%. Just correct that one, is 33%. 1 out of 3, that's the important thing that you calculated. Your target is 3, you want to have 100% of that done, but you had 1 out of 3, which is 33%. The next one, staff training. So here you record each day the number of people who receive training for the day. You're going to write in just the number. So if it's naught, just put in, add in naught, etc. Right? So at the end of the month, let's say you had 6 people on training for the month. Now your measurement here is, you want to ensure that there's an assessment and an attendance register completed for every staff trained. Okay. So on the second, you had 2 people on training, so you had 1 register, attendance register and staff assessment. On the 10th, you had 2 people on training, and you had your 2 attendance registers and assessment. Assessment is important because you want to see if that person is competent or not. However, on the 30th, you had 2 people on training, but you didn't submit assessment form and attendance register. So if you add it together, just get that right, 4 out of 6. 4 out of 6. Your target is 100%. 4 out of 6 is 67%. Okay? That's just important. It's a calculation that you'll do. First and foremost, you see if there's a block there, monthly target and percentage of target, you're not going to do any calculation there, but you use that, the total, as your denominator when you do your calculation at the second row. Okay, hopefully you will be able to get to terms with this. I don't think it's that difficult, but if you do have questions, please phone William or myself. Right, so let's go on. Health and safety report. So this is one you want to have a weekly health and safety report. So the person you submit it on the 2nd, and then one at the end of the month. So you actually just want to put in something, and let's say yet another one. I just want to make sure it's right. So in other words, you did 3. Week 1, week 2, but you skip week 3, week 4 you had it. So you had 3 out of the 4 weeks. Your target is 4. So your score is 75. 3 out of 4, 75%. Timekeeping exceptions report on time. So just going to make that. Note this now. Let's just complete that. So accurate, comprehensive, and variances, defaults, action, name and time clock. So that's what you want to do it on a weekly basis. It's your role to check your time and timekeeping exceptions reports on time. Accurate and on time. So in this particular case, you confirmed it was done every week. So it's 4 out of 4 gives you 100%. Accountability team meetings and minutes. This is weekly. So your target is you want to have 4 in the week, 4 in the month. You only had 3. So 3 out of 4 gives you 75. Okay, that's just the calculation there. Accountability developer support. Now this is very important. In the previous month, when you get your good to great report, you will get the number of people who were identified as developers. I've given you example here. So I would say it's 5. Okay. Now, what you write in here is every time you had a session, it must be a face-to-face session with the person, because the idea is you want to see how you can help them. You want to have a conversation, say, what is the problem? You want to go through the scores with them, see where they've lost points, ask them for the input. Maybe they have a problem, maybe there's a financial problem. Maybe there's whatever, a health crisis, whatever the crisis. The whole idea is to help them to remove the bottleneck. So example here is you did 4. So every day when you do it, you must write down how many you've done for the day. So you did 4 and your target was 5, so you got 80%. Okay, not very difficult. Yellow cards issued. So what you're going to record here on the line is the number of yellow cards that you've issued in a day on the calendar. So in total here, it's 10. Now the second line is, you see there's no target to it, but we're going to use that number. If you add it together, it's 10. We're going to use that number to do your calculation. Because the output, the thing that you really need to do is yellow cards resolved. It's no point in giving a yellow card if you don't discuss it with people, if you don't coach people, because the purpose of good to great is to coach people to succeed. We don't want to set people up for failure. We want to grow them for success. We want to build them for success so that they can become the best that they can be. That's really the emphasis of the program. So yeah, so you had 10 yellow cards in a month. And here you write down the session. So on that day, you had 4 coaching sessions, that day 1, etc. So you in total 7. So again, the sum is quite simple. You want to have 100%, but you only did 7 out of the 10, so it gives you 70 points. Not difficult. Right, the last 4. Teamwork says displayed previous month G2G reports on the notice board. Very simple. This is only 1 score. I've done it on, you're supposed to do 1 in a month. You've done 1. on the 8th or whatever the case may be, and that gives you 100 points. Now, gold parade. You were supposed to have a gold parade in the month, but you didn't. So, unfortunately, your target is 0 points, right? Because you had to have at least 1. Then your G2G weekly inputs checked. Have you done it weekly? So yes, in this particular case, the person has done it on 3 occasions. And I'll just go right at the top again that you see it all comes back to when you've done it on the calendar. We'll go back to that slide. So 3 out of 4 is 75. And the last one is G2G inputs accurate on time in Dropbox. And you say, let's say you get it, the target date was the 6th and you've done it on the 6th, then you give yourself 1 point. However, if you've been late, you cannot give yourself a point there. You have to give yourself a 0. Let's say you only submitted on the 10th, then unfortunately you can't get the credit for that. So what you do is, how does the scoring work? It's an average. You add up all the points here. All the percentage to target points you add up. 70, 90, 50, 50, 0, 33, 67, 75, 100, 75, etc. Add it all together and you divide it by 16. Now, I've made a couple of changes there, but that's how you really get your score. This is the score that goes into Dropbox. This is your monthly score for professional routines, which will in most cases be the vast majority of your score. But there will be other things such as sales and maybe dormant stock that will get into addition to this. Right, what is very important here? Critical. It's important that the employee must sign, and it says here, confirmed as correct by the employee. Date, so the 7th of the 7th month, 2020, must sign there. And you as a supervisor need to also put in the date when you endorsed it. In other words, you have to say, I'm happy that the content is correct. And you sign it. Now, if you find out that some stuff was not correct here and it was not accurately recorded, whatever the case may be, you can then later on, it might only be in the following month, you then allocate a yellow card, or could allocate a yellow card for incorrect reporting. There is a yellow card for that. And that's how you ensure that there is data integrity. All right? So this is, I think this is quite a comprehensive one, but if you can understand this and if you can apply this for your position and have the right attitude that this is all about you, it's not about a simple paper exercise to keep HR happy. No, it is about how you develop your own skills. And importantly, Brights is a professional company. And a professional company consists of professional people. All the best, and I hope it all goes well. If you do have a problem, or if there are anything that we can help you with, please do not hesitate to contact Gerrit Harting or William Welsh.